Welcome to episode 52 of Pera's Playbook. Today we're joined by Hope Carlson of the St. Scholastica women's basketball team. Hope, how are you tonight?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. And, I hope it's going to be a good episode. So, we'll see how it goes. I'm glad you laughed because I thought of that when we set up this episode and I was like, I've got to say that. I hope somebody laughs. I'm glad you laughed. That made me feel good.
I'm used to it. I think it's funny by now.
Yeah, I mean, you got to kind of roll with it, right?
Oh yeah, that's the only way you can do it.
Yeah, otherwise, I mean, you're not having fun and, you know, just got to roll in life. I was
Oh
doing
yeah.
a podcast once and somebody's motto was like, just got to ride the wave. That's what they were like. That's their motto in life. You just got to ride the wave. Like, I like that.
Oh, yeah. Just got to go with the flow.
Exactly. Yeah. So, before we talk about kind of where you're at now and stuff, you played volleyball and basketball in high school. Was there like a point where you decided like I like basketball more? Did you like them both equally and like devote the same amount of time to each of them? How did that kind of, work out throughout your high school career?
So it's kind of funny. I actually did soccer up until my sophomore year. So I wasn't in volleyball at all. I'd played it like until seventh grade or middle school for a year. And then I was like, yeah, this really isn't for me. And then I switched to soccer. And then when COVID hit, I was like, hey, all my friends are doing volleyball and this soccer thing isn't really working out for me. Maybe I'll go and switch. And then COVID happened. So I was able to do both my sophomore year. So I did soccer and volleyball. And I didn't actually play volleyball fully until my junior year. So my junior year was the first year I'd actually only played volleyball and not soccer. And I had also done track too, but up until 10th grade, every single whatever sport I was in was kind of the way I was headed. I was like, "Hey, I want to do this in college." And then basketball rolled around and I was like, "No, actually I want to do this." And then track came and I was like, "No, actually I want to do this." And it wasn't until December of my 10th grade year, which was uh when I went to an AU skill session for Starks Academy, and then I saw all these, people that I played against, in the gym getting better, and then I was like, "Hey, maybe I could be better at basketball. Maybe I should stick with this." And the rest is history after that. Then I just kept dedicating to basketball, and that was really when I decided that I wanted to play basketball in college.
Kind of funny how when we're kids, we think we want to do everything and like everyone wants to be like eight different things when they grow up and like nobody's got their mind made up when they're a kid. Like
But yeah, I had no idea what I wanted to do.
yeah, whatever you're doing, that's what you want to do.
Exactly, yep.
So when you were playing basketball, you hit your 1,000 point mark, and that's kind of like obviously for like high school basketball players, like that's the thing you want to do. Everybody wants to hit 1,000 points. Look back, it's like one of the most memorable things you can do in a high school career. So that had to have been a pretty exciting night for you. Were you close the night you hit it, where like you just had to have one basket, or did you have to have like a
Um,
big night to get it?
Ironically, it was our last regular season game before playoffs, and I was 26 away. So I don't really know if I'd call that close, but but I ended up my little sister actually was a starter at the time, and she was the one who passed me for my 1,000 point, and thankfully I ended up making it, and yeah, so it was
were
super
you,
cool.
were you pretty stressed taking that shot?
Yeah. Yeah, it was for a 3 too, so I came off like a flare on the backside, and once I released, I was like, it's either it's gonna go in or it's not."
Yeah, you had to have been just, I mean, like a sigh of relief and like excitement and everything once it went
Yeah.
in and you hit the number.
Oh, definitely. Because going into my senior year, I was at 500 exactly, and obviously, I don't wanna focus just on points, I more care about the team and wins as a whole, but it was always in the back of my mind, and being the only senior and a captain, I kinda had to contribute offensively too, so that kinda helped my drive.
Yeah. You're right. You want to like focus on the team, but like no matter how hard you try, you're always gonna think about like the fact that you want to hit it. I mean, it's special. It's like a special thing. You can look back. Not everyone can say they got 1,000 points in high school. I mean, like it's a special thing. It's not easy to do. So congratulations, awesome that you were able to do it in a cool way too. It's not just like, yeah, I scored it. Like we had 10 games left. It was easy, like no problem. It was like, thrilling, and that
Yeah.
makes the
Yeah,
story
for
better.
sure. Mhm.
So when your recruiting started, and you mentioned that in 10th grade is when you really kind of started to focus. After that, you were really focused on basketball. Did you want to stay in Minnesota? Were you open to leaving? Did you want to leave? And like things, as they came up, you ended up staying in Minnesota, or how did you really care, I guess, initially?
Honestly, I was so indecisive. I was really torn if I wanted to go on the opposite side of the country and kinda I was torn between going to Hawaii, Florida, or Minnesota, and those are obviously in opposite directions as a whole,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, not
but,
even close.
yeah. I think what really did it for me was so my AU coaches are actually my coaches now at Scholastica, and kinda knowing them going in gave me a sense of security that I knew what to expect, and also I'm a homebody, so I was able to stay close to home too, so it kinda sold me.
Yeah, it really helps that like know about your coaches and like what you're getting yourself into. And I mean, if you know kind of how they run their team, you're familiar with one of the coaches, like that's really gonna kind of give you a leg up over if you went to a different school, you're in a new system, new coaches, new people. So like you had one box checked to kind of just help make it an easier transition than it would be if you went somewhere else.
Exactly.
So, how was it for you adjusting to, I guess, college practice classes? I mean, you got to figure out all this new stuff in life and you got a sport. It's hard enough to be a regular student, like people trying to get their schedules down. You see the first years running all over campus trying to get to their first
Yeah.
class on the first day, but then you had a sport on top of it and there's just extra stress. So, how was the adjustment for you?
Honestly, it was a lot of things thrown at me at once. Had it took a little while to get used to it because obviously college is a lot faster intensity for the basketball side of things, but also the homework side, you're kind of on your own. You get to set your whole schedule throughout the day because you could only have two classes, but then you have 6 hours of homework. So once I kind of got my time management down, it was an easier transition, I'd say. But starting up, it was definitely some took some time to get used to.
And that's the most important like thing in college is time management. You see the people scrambling the night before trying to get their like 10-page paper written or whatever it is. I mean, that's not the way you want to live your life.
No, no.
So going into the first game, did you have an idea that you were gonna play? Or you're gonna play a decent amount? Or like I guess at what point did you know, hey, I'm gonna get some playing time?
Well, all of us, every single person on the team had a meeting with our coaches before the game. I think it was the first week of practice we did. So kind of going in, they told us that they were planning on running, 9, 10, 11 players. And I knew that I kind of had it in the back of my mind that I'd get subbed in, but I never really knew exactly what I would feel that day. And obviously, I didn't play as well as I'd hoped, but one of my teammates had reminded me that day, every person who plays a collegiate sport has to have their first game sometime. And what you're feeling right now, everyone has gone through. And eventually it takes time to get used to, but eventually it gets easier.
Right. And you like you mentioned with practice and stuff. I mean, the speed of the game is different. So that's an adjustment. I mean, you can practice against your own teammates all you want, and it's not the same as playing a real game against another team and the
Yeah.
intensity and the speed
Mhm.
and all that. Were you nervous when you woke up the morning of game day? I mean, did you have butterflies and jitters?
Yeah. I don't like saying nervous, but I would say I was nervous because actually one of our coaches says if you're nervous, then you didn't prepare well enough. And we had prepared, I mean, for the months leading up to this game, for this moment. But I guess it never really sunk into me until that morning where I was like, oh my gosh, I was sitting in class because I had class before the game, and I was watching film, and I was like, I can't even do this right now. I was nervous sighted, I would say. I was nervous and
Yeah.
I was excited. Yeah.
And that's to be expected, obviously, right? Like your first college
Yeah.
game is there's going to be something, emotion, nervous sighted, or that's a new word. I like that. So obviously you weren't with the team last year, but the team had a tough year. I mean, they were 1-23. So getting the win in the first game is awesome. You guys already matched the win total from last year. Now everything is building, and you're taking a step forward. And I mean that's the best way to do it, is to start off on the right foot, and you guys definitely did that. And then you played an exhibition game against Division II Bemidji State, and for you scored your first point, so that had to feel good after you got that first game kind of jitters out of your system. And I mean, yeah, it's an exhibition game, but it can be very helpful, obviously, playing against higher level competition like that. There's so much you can take away moving into your Division III schedule, so that has been an exciting game for you.
Yeah, for sure, especially playing, again, some of my 2 of my AU teammates were actually on that team, and someone that I had looked up to in high school was starting on that team. So I actually got to guard her for a little bit in the game, and it was such a full circle moment for me. And, like you had said, playing that higher competition kinda gets us ready for what we're gonna see in the MIAC now that we moved up to a higher conference. So I think it's super helpful in the long run, knowing exactly what we need to work on defensively and offensively.
Yeah, and it gives you a lot of hope when you can play well against a Division II school,
Yeah,
for the rest of your season. You're like, okay, we'll be all right. No worries. It gives
yeah,
you that confidence that you want.
mhm.
So, speaking of that, looking at the rest of the season, I mean, what are the feelings on the team? You got big goals personally, team goals. What's the discussion like?
Yeah, going into this year, we actually had a team meeting, and the word for or the phrase for this year is rebranding season. And obviously, last year, with there only being one win, kind of everyone has this drive this year. We're trying to make each other better. We're trying to make ourselves better and prove to everyone that that was a fluke and we're here to play this year. So, I mean, obviously everyone's goal is to win the MIAC, win our conference, but personally, every year I for my high school senior year, I made a little list of goals and I hung it right above my light. So every time I walked out my door, I could see it and remember why I had to stay on the grind. And one of those was my 1,000 points. So it was always kind of in my mind. And eventually when I reached that goal, I could cross it off. And this year, one of the biggest ones is staying focused and working on my EQ because I know sometimes in the game emotions are high and it's always good to stay focused and stay locked into the game. But shooting wise, my goal is to be at least 85% on free throws and become a 40% free 3-point shooter. So those are a few of my personal goals. And our team goal is winning the MIAC this year. So
Yeah, definitely good goals to have. And, with having a tougher season last year, like you guys are going to go into most games as underdogs, and there might be some teams that overlook you, and that's never good when you like go into a game and overlook a team. So you guys have that underdog edge, which is really a good place to be, because like I said, other
mhm.
teams they're gonna go in and they're gonna be like, S team, they were 1-23 last year, and just naturally they're going to kind of look past you, and that's where you guys can use that opportunity to go in and surprise some people.
Sometimes that's the best place to be is when no one can count on you, and then that's when you prove them wrong.
Right, exactly. Yeah, being an underdog is definitely sometimes better than being the favorite.
Yeah.
So I know it hasn't been super long. I mean, it's just November, so we're getting close to the semester. I guess it's almost halfway, through the school year. But what's your favorite part about Saint Scholastica so far?
Ooh, that's a tough one. There's a lot of good things. I'd say one of the most memorable things is how much everyone cares about you there and how much of a tight-knit community there is. Like, well, that also helps with it being a smaller school, but I could go to my professor and they could know my name right off the top of the bat, or they truly care about you there and you feel like you belong. So I think that's super cool and it's awesome to see and culture-wise that you're part of something bigger than just school there.
Yeah. Yeah, those are definitely great things to have in a school. So what about Duluth? I think Duluth's a great town. I love Duluth. I mean, there's a lot of fun stuff to do in Duluth. There's a lot of great restaurants and like things to do, and it's a great town. It's got to be a fun town to go to college in.
Yeah, especially being closer to, neighboring colleges and even high schools. Because I went to high school in Duluth too. You're super close to everything, so you could go to the mall or go to Park Point or go to Canal Park, and everything is super close. And there's always something to do, so that makes it fun.
Yeah. And Duluth's like the perfect size. Like it's a city, but it's not
Yeah,
too big where you're like, oh, this is, too much. But it's also, like you said, there's always something to do. Canal Park, and I mean the weather in the winter, obviously,
yeah,
not the greatest, but in the summer and the fall, it's beautiful, and that makes it worth it. So
yeah. It comes with its perks, but there's also the snow in the winter.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I grew up in the UP in Michigan, so I know all
Oh
about
yeah.
that. And I actually live in Ironwood right now, so I'm only 2 hours from Duluth. So
Okay.
very similar weather.
Yeah.
I don't know about Duluth, but it's supposed to snow here on Thanksgiving next week. So
Oh, I
not
believe it.
not surprised. I mean, it's
Yeah. I'm shocked that there's not snow on the ground right now.
yeah. Well, I mean, it snowed I think last week or the week before, and then this week it kind of got warm, a little weird. But
Yeah.
next week it's back in the 20s. So
Oh, yeah. Yep.
that's what I guess that's what we all get for living up north.
Oh, yeah.
So a few just kind of I guess random questions to wrap up the episode. What would your dream travel destination be? Anywhere in the world.
Ooh. Um, I'd say right now it would be Hawaii, just
Okay.
because Hawaii just seems like a magical place. There's surfing, exotic views, um, super cool, a super cool destination spot. So that definitely ranks up there. Or I've always wanted to go to the Maldives.
Yeah.
And a recent one now I'm thinking about Greece and Santorini. That's
Okay.
yeah.
A lot of
So
people say
obvious
Greece.
yeah,
The
that ranks up there.
Maldives, the Maldives looks nice. Like I see, you see stuff pop up on Instagram or whatever, and it almost looks like it's not real. Like the
Yeah.
water, like the color of the water, and like it's just incredible.
I think that'd be crazy to see in person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many places that just like you see on Instagram or whatever, like reels pop up, travel reels, and they just don't even look real. Like they're just I it's hard to
Yeah.
imagine some of these places how beautiful they are. And I don't know. I feel like there's not enough time in a lifetime to get or money, not enough time or money to get to see everything I'm gonna want to see.
Yeah.
So if you could invite any celebrity over to dinner, who would you invite?
I was thinking about this, but I'd have to go with Ellen DeGeneres.
Okay. Why Ellen?
Super random, but I don't know. I grew up watching Ellen, and
Yeah.
I'd come home and if I didn't have practice, that is, and I'd watch her show every single day. And then eventually, when I found out that she wasn't being renewed for another season and it was her last season, I remember when I was telling my mom, like tears started trickling down my face. That's how upset I was, because I'd grown up watching her give back to the community, and she's also just super funny, so I think
Yeah.
she would be a great person to invite to dinner.
You like Finding Nemo too? Isn't she Dory or something like that?
Yeah,
Is she?
yep,
Yeah, yeah, that'd be probably a fun dinner.
yeah.
If you could invite a second person to join you and Ellen, who would you invite?
Ooh,
There's three of you, Ellen,
okay,
and somebody else.
yeah. I'd say, Adam Sandler.
Okay. Yeah.
That would be a good combination right there.
Yeah, he seems like he'd be a cool guy too, just like kind of,
Yeah, super down to earth.
yeah, nice guy. Like he'd actually be he's a decent person, and that'd be a
Yeah.
fun dinner. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, what's your favorite sport to watch? Like if you have to watch it on TV.
I'm a big football fan. I got a
Okay.
fantasy team and everything, but, I do like volleyball, watching volleyball too. But I don't know, I still say basketball.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, football fan from Minnesota Vikings.
Yep.
Interesting year so far.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, not bad though. Like,
Yeah, Josh Dobbs is kinda coming through for us right now.
yeah, yeah, he's kind of turned it on and won five
Yeah.
in a row. And I don't know, when I saw they traded for Josh Dobbs, I was like, I don't think that's the right move. I think they should have gone for someone else. But hey, guy can. He's
He's
proving
taking
everyone
it.
wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
So, how's your fantasy team? Is it good, bad?
I'm about 500 right now, so
Yeah.
kinda in between. I've Herbert as my quarterback,
So
so
do I, and I'm
oh
also
my gosh.
500.
Too funny. Yeah, so
Yeah,
we'll see when playoffs come around, but
yeah. My league's really tight right now. Like, there's a bunch of people that could get the last playoff spot, and I don't know.
yeah.
Right now, I'm in the last playoff spot, but I don't know if I'm gonna be there at the end of the season.
Yeah. All it takes is a one good game from one of your players, and you might be in
Yeah,
there.
I really do. But like, I've made a lot of trades, and they all haven't paid off.
Oh, no.
I traded for Derrick Henry, and he had 3 points last week, so like that wasn't great.
Yikes. Yeah, I started Vikings defense, and I had San Francisco D on my bench, and then they had 19,
Ooh,
and that's why I lost, so
yeah. I started the
sometimes
Saints defense, and then the Vikings put up 27 points, so they got
oh,
zeros.
yep.
So, what are your hobbies? What do you like to do for fun?
I love fishing, hunting, we go camping a lot, hiking. So those are what I like to do in my spare free time. But also this one is kind of random, but I also like to sew and
Oh,
make clothes. And I actually started my own like small business. I don't even know if you'd call it that, but I started making sweatshirts because we had a competition for high school. And then I was like, "Hey, I kind of want to do this." And now people just reach out to me and be like, "Hey, can you make this?" So I started to make customized sweatshirts, and I've actually sold, like, over 100. So it's
wow.
kinda cool yeah, it's kinda cool to see people like, "Oh, you're wearing what I made you?"
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's really
but
neat. That is definitely a neat hobby.
yeah.
Huh. So hunting, you deer hunt?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. You get a big buck in your life, or
Um, I've shot 5 deer so far. Um, my biggest one has been a 8 pointer.
that's pretty
But
good.
yeah, we just hunt behind my house, so whatever we can get, you know?
Yeah, do you just have a blind out behind your house, or
Yeah, we have 2.
okay.
So
Yeah.
all
Well,
my
that's nice.
siblings yeah, mhm,
You don't have to go too far.
yeah.
Yeah.
Works
What's
out.
the when's deer season in Minnesota?
It started 2 weekends ago, and,
Okay.
well, bow hunting goes until December 31st.
Okay.
So I could hunt until December 31st if I didn't shoot one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rifle season just started in Michigan today, so everyone was
Okay.
taking off of work, and everyone, it was
Yep.
the big thing.
Oh, yeah.
I've never been a deer hunter. Always like a bird hunter. grouse and stuff like that, but never deer hunter.
Yeah, I've wanted to get into bird hunting, but I've been too busy with sports. So
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of things, talking to different athletes is you have to like give up your hobbies kind of until your sports career is over, or you can't
yeah,
like start new ones. You can't
mhm.
try anything new because
Yeah,
the
sports kind of become your hobby in a way.
yeah,
That
ball is life,
Yep, basketball and lifting is basically my 2 hobbies right now.
right? And then school, like that's probably all you do all day
Yep,
long, every day.
yeah.
But you must like it, otherwise you wouldn't do it.
Oh, yeah, I love it.
Well, awesome. Hope, thanks for coming on the podcast. Had a good time and enjoyed talking about your journey.
Thank you for having me, I really appreciate it.